This episode of the Modesta Mahiga 360 Leadership Podcast is the third of a three-part series on increasing leadership effectiveness. If you're not already caught up, please go back to listen to part one on increasing self-leadership and part two on adopting the mindset, skill set, and strategies for increasing your leadership effectiveness. I am your host, Modesta Mahiga. Before we get into today's topic on increasing effectiveness in leading the environment in which you, the leader, and people interact, please subscribe, like, and share this episode with your networks. Thank you very much. In previous episodes, we saw that leadership is the interaction between the leader, people within the leader's domain, and the environment they're in. Leadership is therefore incomplete if it is only about the leader. What you do as a leader is not enough to achieve desired results. I'll say that again. What you do as a leader is not enough to bring about desired leadership results. To increase your leadership effectiveness, you need to not only develop yourself 360, but also be able to influence people to choose of their own volition rather than coercion to align with you. Furthermore, the context in which you and people interact also affects how well you lead. Therefore, no matter how skilled you are and how willing and able people are to follow your lead, your environment can either facilitate or sabotage your leadership effectiveness. With the world in constant flux, we know the environment is always shifting. The question then becomes, how on earth do you lead effectively in a dynamic and often complex and ambiguous organizational, industry, and global environment? The answer is by rising above the leader's personal character, competence, and connection with people, and even the people's willingness and capacity to align with the leader. To create, rather, it is those who build the organizational ability to ebb and flow and ride the waves of change. What does this look like in practice? Number one, creating a change management culture that expects, accepts, and embraces change as a natural evolutionary process to even greater people and organizational effectiveness. Number two, equipping best positioned leaders throughout the organization that have the competence, power, and authority to identify, address, make decisions, and take action to remove barriers and create pathways for people and processes to adjust as needed. And number three, building data-driven management systems that timely and continuously detect, report, and recommend action to facilitate ongoing people and organizational effectiveness. In part two of this series on increasing leadership effectiveness, I shared the reality that leadership is an expansive art and science that integrates and collaborates the leader, the people, and the environment to get the job done. This means to increase your leadership effectiveness is to number one, work on improving yourself 360. Number two, adopt the mindset, skill set, and strategies to influence people, and now we see to also navigate organizations. And number three, to build agile, resilient, and sustainable systems that will make sure that you, your people, and organization effectively work together toward desired outcomes. I know this sounds like a tall order. I know it. But as I said in part two, while you may be accountable for it all as the leader, you don't have to do it all. There are things that only you can do, and there are others you facilitate to get done by direct reports, management, the board, customers, suppliers, coaches, consultants, and even other market players. it still counts towards your leadership effectiveness. That wraps up part 3 and completes our 3-part series on increasing leadership effectiveness. How did you find the series? What takeaways are you going to apply to increase your leadership effectiveness? Please leave us a review and rate the Modesta Mahiga 360 Leadership Podcast. Tag us on a favorite quote from the episodes and we'll give you a shout out and repost. Need help? Click the link in the description to book a consultation call for help to increase your 360 leadership, your competence and connection to influence others, and your capacity to build agility, resilience, and sustainability in your organization. Until the next episode, remember this always. You can only lead others as well as you lead yourself. Focus on your 360 leadership development to build a strong foundation to lead people and organizations with confidence. You've got this, and God's got you.